and Obama told, it was Comey was there, Yates was there, and I'm not sure who else was there.
That's it.
Comey and Yates, that they were going to look into Flynn about the thing we've just been talking about. And Obama was saying, go buy the book and don't have to tell me anything else. Because, of course, the president's supposed to stay away from law enforcement. In fact, Trump said the other day, I'm the chief law enforcement officer. That's not my understanding. He's the commander-in-chief of the troops, but not of law enforcement. He should not cross that wall with the Department of Justice, which he's done. Now, maybe Yates was wrong because Susan Rice has written a memo to herself that's been getting a lot of airplay on Fox, in which she 3 times says that Obama said do it by the book. Now, first of all, I write emails to myself, so I don't know why people make a big deal out of that. I do it all the time. But it could be that Yates was wrong, that maybe Rice was still present, that she hadn't left the room yet. But here, that doesn't really matter. What is the evidence either Bill or Ray has that you think Obama was directly involved in this Flynn case or in any other aspect of a Brennan operation or any other part of the Russiagate tale that was being spun?
I was asked this.
Yeah. Bill, go ahead. You go first. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pompeo asked me that question. And I said, well, look at who's involved. It's FBI, NSA, CIA, Department of State, Department of Homeland Security, and the DOJ. And the only place those come to a point where they can be orchestrated in order to do something is at the White House. So my impression is, although I can't prove it, that Obama was the orchestrator of the not necessarily one who designed it or executed it, but the one who ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
Ordered. Go ahead, Ray.
I can add to that. I agree with Bill. There is some circumstantial evidence of a pretty persuasive kind. It's an exchange between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the attorney for the Deputy FBI, McCabe. And she pretty excitedly says, Peter, I've just been asked to prepare talking points because the POTUS, President of the United States, quote, wants to know everything we're doing, period, end quote. Date, September 2nd, if memory serves, 2016. Well, hello, the whole context was Russiagate. If he wanted to know everything that they were doing, and McCabe was telling him, or Comey was, well, he certainly had some knowledge of it. The other thing I'll say is this. Many people have said, and I believe this is probably the case, that Brennan was the overall archbishop here. He was the overarching leader of this escapade. Now, if that's the case, we know that Brennan had this kind of hold on President Obama. We know that from multiple sources and multiple indicators. For example, when Brennan was trying to resist the publication of the Senate Intelligence Committee report on torture, on CIA torture, Obama bent over backwards, sent his chief of staff to all the meetings to obfuscate, to delete, and prevent it from being published. Now, why would he do that? I don't know. I mean, hello, he was going out of office anyway, but Brennan had this hold on him. Now, last thing I'll say on this is that it's no secret in Washington how the secret national security state, the deep state, if you will, how much power it has. John McLaughlin, who was acting director of the CIA last November, shouted out, "Thank God for the deep state," because we show the president the parameters into which he can fit his policy. Hello. So what I'm saying here is that when Trump was still president-elect, okay, think back to 3 January 2017, Chuck Schumer asked Rachel Maddow, I got something to report, may I come on your show? And she said, sure, Chuck. So they're on the show, and Rachel says, oh, Senator Schumer, you said you have something really important to say. And she says, yes, Rachel, it's about President-elect Trump. You know, I thought he was a smart guy, businessman, would know which fights to pick and all, but he's done something very foolish. Oh, what would that be, Chuck? He's crossed the intelligence community, and they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. he's done something very, very foolish. Now, you think that was a coincidence? I don't. The 3rd of January, 2017, on the 5th of January, Obama and all these other people that you mentioned before got together in the White House to see how they were going to arrange this campaign against Trump. On the 5th of January, they plotted this business about Flynn, but they also got their final instructions on how to play the intelligence community assessment, which had been done under Brennan and Clapper's direction. Now, what did that assessment say? It said that Putin said, hack into the DNC, get those emails to me, we want to help Trump, okay? Now, it didn't happen, that doesn't matter. That's what the memo said. The very next day, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, and Rogers from the NSA descend on Trump Tower to brief the president, okay? And they say, Mr. President, we have this assessment, and sorry, but it says that you wouldn't be president without the Russians helping you a lot. And you know, that's what it says, and it's going to be published. Actually, it's published today. And then Comey says, gentlemen, I have something even more sensitive to discuss with the president. Could you leave us alone? Could you? So they leave. Then Comey says, Mr. President, this is very awkward. I don't know how to do this, but there's this dossier, and it's scurrilous. It's all that we can't confirm all of it, but it's out there. The press has them. It says that you cavorted with prostitutes in Moscow. It says all manner of things. So just so you know, Mr. President, it's out there. It's this dossier. Now, Trump, he's a newbie. He hadn't been in Washington very long, but if that were I would have said, Mr. Comey, go clean out your desk. I know what you're doing. This is J. Edgar Hoover on steroids. We have this material, Mr. President. Oh, just so you know, get out of here, clean out your desk. You're gone as soon as I become president. Instead of that, he tried to cajole him, tried like a real estate broker to get him on his side and all that kind of stuff. And it was months later that he had to fire him. So what I'm saying here is that the fear of the deep state didn't really occur to Trump right off the bat. He should know enough now, but I think he's still scared. And whether he'll let Barr and the U.S. attorney in Connecticut, Durham, who's investigating Russiagate, whether they'll let them go ahead with indictments against these guys that Trump is fond of naming, Brennan, Clapper, Comey. If they decide that indictments are warranted, will Trump chicken out like he has in the past? He's thrown Nunes under the bus. Well, I don't know, but I'm afraid he will. Now, Bill, you're waving a piece of paper. Is that
That's the statutes. Those are the statutes that they, Bill says they
right.
broke. Before, Bill, you get in there, I just want to make 2 points. One, when Ray, you referred to that text message from FBI lawyer Lisa Page to Strzok that Obama, she was told Obama wants to know everything that we're doing. The corporate media at the time reported that as being in regard to the Clinton server issue, totally independent from Russiagate. You pointed out to me that that was closed by Comey at that time, and then later reopened when the Wiener laptop was looked at. So you believe that the corporate media was wrong or misleading on purpose, that he was really Obama referring to the Russiagate stuff that we've all been discussing right now. And the other point I want to make before I turn over to Bill is clear that from Consortium News' point of view, and I believe all of us here, maybe, I don't know about Bill, because Bill may have voted for Donald Trump and said so, but we are certainly not supporters of any party. We don't support Trump, or we didn't support Clinton. We don't support Biden or Trump. That's not our role. We are critical of all the parties, but we find that what intelligence community services can do to undermine and to meddle in domestic politics, to undermine a political process, is more frightening because it could last longer than whatever Trump may or may not have done in his policies, of which we disagree with almost all at Consortium News. But we are more worried about the intrusion into domestic politics of intelligence services, which are going to be there long after Trump is gone or the next administration, and future candidates or presidents can be meddled with. And that's what we find to be graver. Bill.
Yeah, I would just add that if Barr and Durham don't start filing all these charges, or some of them, against people who are high up in the Obama administration, we can say that they're bought in and that we no longer have a Department of Justice. We have a Department of Just Us continuing. And the us doesn't include the vast population of the United States. It's only a selective elite few in the mostly Democratic Party.
Yeah, and I would say this too. When Trump coined the phrase Obamagate, that was about 10 days ago now.
Yep.
All hell broke loose. Did you see the mainstream media? My God! First it's Russiagate, then it's FBI gate, deep state gate. Oh no, Obamagate! And so one of these smart young reporters asked Trump's new spokeswoman, President Trump's talking about crimes. What kinds of crimes we did? Well, to my great surprise, she said, well, yeah, I have the listing here. You want me to read it? So she reads out 6 crimes. And then he says, well, yeah, but those, and then she reads 4 more. And they're the ones that Bill read. So, you know, Obamagate is real. And it's realer, much more real than Russiagate. And that's going to be the sticky wicket. Now, I think Bill Barr, the Attorney General, is smart enough to keep his sights, okay? Now, probably he could easily prove Obama had guilty knowledge, Biden himself. But, you know, why go that far? If he gets Comey, if he gets Brennan, if he gets Clapper, these people who deliberately played fast and loose with the Constitution of the United States, that suffices. But the real danger is that he won't. What Bill says, we'll have it forever.
Yeah, but like Nixon, okay? This is like Nixon.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that's a heavy charge to make against Obama, that he was like Nixon, who had the IRS ordered his enemies. He got involved in all kinds of things he shouldn't have.
What happened with the IRS here? And what did they do with the Tea Party and the Occupy group and the religious organizations trying to get 501c3? What did they do to them? Oh, okay. You know?
And whistleblower.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you know, it might be that Barr is saying he doesn't want to give the appearance that he's politicizing this by going after political leaders like Obama or Biden, but that he's going to go after the heads of agencies, maybe, like Clapper, Comey.
But Joe, this is a
Brennan.
real simple question. Did they violate a law? If so, which one? If they did, charge them.
Well, it's simply put, but it is more complicated than that, isn't it, Ray?
Well, you know, if you look back just 13 months, okay, Devin Nunes, head of the House Intelligence Committee, said he was forwarding 8 criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. But of course, they had to go through the White House first, right? Now, he pretty much named the names, and there are a lot of people that we've just been talking about. What happened to those 8 criminal referrals 13 months ago? Well, I don't know, but it seems to me that the president chickened out. They didn't go anywhere. They didn't get down to the Department of Justice. So the question now is, will that happen again? Or will Durham and Barr and the president, ticked off as he is, and with all these other uncertainties and needing to take the offensive, whether he'll follow through this time? If he does follow through, there's going to be a real constitutional issue here. If he doesn't follow through, the Constitution is torn to shreds.
Well, Ray and Bill and Elizabeth, if you have that last question, that might be a good place to end this. With the shredding of the Constitution in the balance, because we don't know what's going to happen, whether Durham will in fact recommend indictments, whether Trump will go through it or not. Russiagate story in terms of its credibility is pretty much over, but the story overall is not over because the investigation into it continues. And we looked into some of those aspects, including GUCCIFER 2.0, the Michael Flynn saga, whether Obama was involved or not. The Steele dossier came up, and we did that discussion today with Ray McGovern, former CIA analyst and presidential briefer, and Bill Binney, former technical director of the National Security Agency. And these 2 guys know a thing or two about the intelligence services, and we really appreciate that they came and lent their expertise to us today. And we'll give another final word to Ray.
Yeah, I just want to make a point of thanking Tim Leonard.
Yeah.
The excellent piece that you edited and posted 2 days ago, Joe, that goes through a dissection of who this GUCCIFER 2.0 is. We don't know who he is, and we asked the president to find out back in July of 2017. I wonder if the president even knows who GUCCIFER 2.0 is, but the time is he ought to find out.
Well, I second that, and I did very little editing of Tim's piece, but I was very happy to publish it. Again, thanks, Ray, thanks, Bill, and thank you, Elizabeth. This concludes our episode 9 of season 2 of CNLive, and we thank you for joining us, and join us again for the next show.
Get out your notebook. There's more.